I'm sure you've heard a million times about the importance of a morning ritual and setting up your day for success. But what I find with most people, myself included, is it's really hard to stick to, and every time I try one, it might last a few days and then I always go back to where I started. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set yourself up for success with an empowering morning ritual that can actually last. Have you ever heard how you start your day is how you live your life? I personally find this to be very true. I know I feel massively different if I grab my phone first thing in the morning, get into reactive overwhelm about my day, or if I start my day connected to myself, connected to my body, and grounded for the day, and in my power and inspired. And so it does make a huge difference, but I usually see one of two things happen with people who start morning rituals. One is they try it for a few days and don't stick with it and just it loses steam. Or the other one is they try the most elaborate morning ritual in the world and it sounds beautiful. You write it down on paper the night before and it sounds amazing. And then you get to it the next day and you get one day in and it's like, that was cool, but that kind of felt like a lot of work. These are a lot of steps. It's a lot of things to think about. And so it becomes more of this checklist than something where you're connected to yourself. Or it's so long and astronomical, it's like climbing a mountain every morning, or it's like climbing a mountain to build it into a habit instead of small little steps of changing your routine over time. So the first thing I recommend you do is plan on not going from zero to perfect morning ritual. Plan on implementing one thing at a time so you have a chance to build the habit. So things for your morning ritual can range in a number of ways, and I'm going to share a pretty basic one that I found for myself that's worked great, and I've added to this over time. So what I do first thing when I wake up is honestly nothing. I lay there, I don't check my phone, and I just lay there and breathe. I grab a huge glass of water, it's always by my nightstand, and I just let myself wake up. And I do this for about 15 minutes. I scan my body, I see how I feel, I stretch, I move my arms, my legs, I just get energy in my body. And if I wanna take that a level deeper, I might add a little prayer or kind of channeling some energy and having energy flow through me and just visualizing myself waking up and feeling amazing for the day. So it didn't start like that. It started with just laying there without getting on my phone, and then I added that next layer. So the next thing I do is I get up and I do some type of movement, and I mean just for 3 minutes or maybe 10 at most. I don't do my workout in the morning, but I like getting my body moving, stretching, moving my head, my neck, touching my toes. If I can do this outside, I do, and that really just kind of gets my energy up and gets me flowing. Then I have breakfast and then I journal. So if I don't do my gratitude in bed in the morning, I make sure to do it in my journal, and then I look at my schedule for the day and I take my schedule and all the things I need to do and I just put them in either a calendar, I decide what I'm gonna do that day. And so I start with gratitude, I finish with intention, and that's it. That's the morning ritual. Now, this has taken time. Sometimes I skip parts, I'm not always perfect, but I found that one is super simple and it's easy for me to implement. I feel fueled, I feel connected to myself. And one little bonus I'll do is maybe listen to a podcast or an inspiring audio while I'm having breakfast before my journal time, right? So you can see this is just 4 main things. It's waking up and staying in bed, it's some movement, it's a nourishing breakfast, and it's setting myself up with gratitude intention for the day. Now, with those things, I added deeper layers, right? So the first thing I did in all of this process was that 15 minutes to myself without my phone. And let me tell you, that was a big thing because I used to start with my phone all of the time. Then once I got that habit going, I added in the prayer or the gratitude or the bringing in the energy and focusing on running the energy through my body. or I've done visualization at that time. So I didn't make a 22-step morning routine where I lay in bed, I do my gratitude, I do my visualization. No, I started with laying there and not using my phone. And then I added another piece, and that changes each day. Sometimes I feel like praying, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like gratitude, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like nothing, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like music, sometimes I don't. And I pick. So there's structure and ebb and flow. And if you're like me and you like a lot of variety, I highly recommend having a few things you stick to no matter what, but adding in some variety. Next step was movement. The old me would have done like a 40-minute high interval training. This version of me is like, I just want to get energy in my body and move. So after I mastered the laying down without the phone, I add the movement in. Then I get that going, then I add a piece to that, right? I either add songs that I like, I add a podcast that I like, I add an audiobook that I like, right? So it's like one thing at a time. Once that practice gets embodied, then I add in a little layer to it to optimize that time more. And I get to choose each morning what that thing is that I'm going to add to it. And sometimes I don't add anything. Sometimes it's just a 2-minute stretch in my room before I go have breakfast, right? But the point of this is it's making intentional time for yourself throughout the day or in the morning, right? And how you do that is going to set you up for success for the rest of the day and really put you in your power. So yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Some components I suggest are connection to your body, which could be movement, right? And scanning, connection to your emotional world, connection to your spiritual world, and nourishing your physical world, right? So, however you get connection in those ways. And then of course, I am a huge proponent of planning the day. When I don't do this, I forget stuff, which happens sometimes, but trying my best to get really better about that. So yeah, the gratitude, the connection to those different parts of your life and those things outside of yourself that are super important. And then the gratitude and intention for the day. And once again, this video is probably giving you a lot of different ideas, right? So if I was you, I would write down right now a list of all the different ideas of things that you have to add into your morning ritual. And then I would go in and I would circle the top 4 that feel like if you started your morning with those top 4 things, it would be such a drastic change on your energy level. Then what I would do is I would star number 1, the first thing that is the highest leverage and will give you the most energy, the most vitality, the most presence, the most connection throughout the day. And for the next week or 2, and maybe even 3 or 4 weeks, until that thing becomes second nature, commit to that one thing. Once that thing becomes second nature and more natural, add your number 2. Second nature and more unnatural, add your number 3, then add your number 4. Then if you want to optimize, maybe add a song, maybe add a meditation on top of one of those things, whatever your thing is, right? But start small, build it up over time. And here's the big kind of bonus for all of this. Make sure it's something that you like. When I used to try to force myself to do things that sounded good but didn't actually feel great in the morning, I never did them. I resisted them. So make sure you're finding things that actually excite you to do, that don't feel like a chore or feel really difficult, especially if you're just starting to try to program these habits. So I would love to hear what morning ritual you are going to plan in the comments below. What's your one thing you're trying this week? Put that in the comments below. Let us know, and this will inspire others to do the same. And if you like this video and want to come back for more support around your body, around food, around life, we release videos every Tuesday, so be sure to hit subscribe, click like, give us a thumbs up. We'd love to get feedback and would love to hear from you and see what you're implementing from this video in your life. The training that I have in the description just below this video, or the link, just click someplace around this, that training is going to be what supports you with getting there.